There is a task you've been avoiding. You know exactly what it is. You've thought about it today already. Maybe you've thought about it every day this week without starting it. It isn't that you don't want to finish it. It's that you can't make yourself begin. The West has built an entire industry around this problem. Productivity systems, time blocking, dopamine detoxes, accountability partners, apps that lock your phone, books that explain why you procrastinate and then give you a 12-step system to stop. Japan solved it with 2 minutes, not a system, not a framework. A rule so simple it sounds like it shouldn't work. And yet, the research behind it and the cultural practice built around it produces results that Western productivity culture has been chasing for decades. The concept is called Kaizen, and once you understand what it actually means, not the corporate version you may have heard of, it will change how you think about beginning anything. What Kaizen actually means. Kaizen is usually translated as continuous improvement. In the West, it became a business philosophy, Toyota production systems, corporate efficiency, incremental process optimization. That's the industrial application. It isn't the origin. The origin is simpler and more human. Kaizen comes from 2 Japanese words. Kai, change, Zen, good. Change for the better. Not dramatic change, not transformation, not overhaul. The smallest possible change in the right direction. Repeated, without interruption. The founder of the modern Kaizen practice, Masaki Imai, described the core principle this way. If you cannot do something for 10 minutes, do it for 2. If you cannot do it for 2 minutes, do it for 1. The duration is negotiable. Beginning is not. This is the part Western productivity culture consistently misses. We treat beginning as a consequence of motivation. We wait until we feel ready, focused, inspired, clear. We treat the absence of those feelings as a legitimate reason not to start. Kaizen treats beginning as the cause of motivation, not its consequence. You don't wait to feel ready. You begin at the smallest possible scale and allow readiness to arrive through the act of starting. Why your brain resists beginning. There's a neurological reason procrastination exists, and it has nothing to do with laziness or discipline. The brain's threat detection system, the amygdala, responds to large undefined tasks the same way it responds to physical danger. It triggers an avoidance response. The task feels threatening not because it is dangerous, but because it is unclear, large, and unresolved. This response produces what researchers call task aversion. The discomfort isn't about the work itself. It's about the anticipation of engaging with something that feels overwhelming. The moment you begin, the moment the task shifts from anticipated to actual, the threat response diminishes. The prefrontal cortex re-engages. The work becomes simply work. Kaizen works neurologically because a 2-minute commitment doesn't trigger the threat response. The brain doesn't resist 2 minutes. 2 minutes isn't threatening. 2 minutes is nothing, and then you're already doing it. The 2-minute rule in practice. The application of Kaizen to procrastination works like this. Whatever you've been avoiding, you commit to doing it for exactly 2 minutes, not until it's done, not until you feel like continuing. 2 minutes. The report you haven't started. Open the document and write 1 sentence. 2 minutes. The email you've been avoiding, write the first line. 2 minutes. The workout you've canceled 3 times, put on your shoes and walk to the door. 2 minutes. The creative project that's been sitting, open it and change one thing. 2 minutes. What happens after 2 minutes is not the point of the exercise. What happens is that you've begun. The task has shifted from future to present. The avoidance response has been bypassed entirely. In the majority of cases, you continue, not because you forced yourself to, because beginning changes the neurological state and the work becomes possible in a way it wasn't 30 seconds earlier. In the cases where you stop at 2 minutes, you've still broken the pattern. You've established that beginning is possible. Tomorrow's 2 minutes will be easier than today's. Why Japan embeds this in culture? Kaizen isn't just a personal productivity technique in Japan. It's a cultural value applied across every scale of life. In Japanese schools, students are taught that small, consistent effort produces more than irregular, intense effort. The concept of continuing, chizoku, is valued above the concept of performance. In Japanese workplaces, the employee who makes small improvements every day is more respected than the one who periodically has brilliant ideas. The culture doesn't celebrate dramatic reinvention. It celebrates the discipline of continuous small action. In Japanese homes, the same principle applies to maintenance. You don't let things deteriorate and then have a cleaning day. You make the small correction immediately, every time, so that deterioration never accumulates. The entire culture operates on the understanding that consistency at a small scale produces outcomes that intensity at a large scale cannot. Western culture operates on the opposite premise. We value transformation over consistency, breakthroughs over maintenance, the dramatic start over the quiet continuation, and then we wonder why we can't begin. The deeper problem Kaizen solves. Procrastination in the West is treated as a personal failing, a discipline problem, a character issue. Japan's cultural framework suggests it's a design problem. If the unit of action is too large, humans won't begin. This isn't weakness. It's how human motivation actually works. The solution isn't to demand more willpower. It's to make the unit smaller. A 2-minute commitment isn't a compromise. It isn't settling for less. It's a precise calibration of the minimum viable action that bypasses avoidance and produces beginning. Once you've begun, the question of continuing answers itself. This is what Kaizen understands that Western productivity culture keeps forgetting in its pursuit of better systems and stronger habits and more optimized schedules. The obstacle was never the work. The obstacle was always the beginning. 4 ways to apply this today. 1. Name the task you've been avoiding longest, not the most urgent. The one that's been living in the back of your mind the longest? That one. Give it a 2-minute commitment right now. Not after this video. Now. 2. Make the entry point smaller than you think necessary. If 2 minutes feels like too much, make it 30 seconds. The size of the commitment matters less than the act of committing. You are training your brain to associate this task with beginning rather than avoidance. 3. Remove the decision from the beginning. Procrastination lives in the moment of decision. Do I do this now or later? Kaizen eliminates the decision by making the answer always the same. 2 minutes, always. The task doesn't get to negotiate with you about when it begins. 4. Track beginnings, not completions. Western productivity culture measures what you finish. Kaizen measures what you start. A habit tracker that records every day you began, regardless of how much you did, rewires your relationship with the task faster than any completion-based system. Japan didn't build one of the most productive, functional, and detail-oriented societies in the world through intensity. It built it through the cultural understanding that small, consistent action, repeated without drama across a lifetime, produces everything that waiting for the right moment never will. You already know what you've been avoiding. 2 minutes, right now. That's it. If this gave you something useful, subscribe. Every week we look at what Japan does differently and why it works. See you next week.